All right, high rollers, can't wait to talk darts with this guy. Gary Anderson has been on a run of late, 2 Players' Championship titles, and of course the UK Open in Minehead. Michael Smith, 1 title in 2018, and of course his impressive showing in the Premier League thus far. Both members of Team Unicorn, an iconic brand when it comes to the tungsten. This guy is partnered with Unicorn, has his own signature dart. He's a podcast host, and his website, tomdartsjourno.com, is an excellent source of news, player profiles, and features. He's a hardworking darts journalist, folks, at Tom Darts Journo on Twitter. Tom Beresford, welcome to the show, man. Thanks for being our high roller today.
Derek, thanks very much for having me on your show.
Let's start with your website. Scouring through it the past few days I have, and there's just a wealth of information on that website.
I just love darts, Derek. I just love talking about it, watching it, reporting on it. I've about 5 years ago, I started my own blog off called Tungsten Stories, and I just thought the best path for me would be to create my own personal blog and go on my own and just see how I got on, and it's going pretty well, to be fair.
It looks like it is, man. The website again, tomdartsjourno.com. Front page, Bradley Phillips, 14-year-old, wins 2 JDC titles. Can you talk about the youth darts in England quickly? I suppose it's on par with youth hockey here in Canada. Very competitive. Seems to be a system that breeds some great caliber.
It's absolutely fantastic. I mean, the JDC is pretty new. A couple of years old, Steve Brown had an idea to set up some darts academies around the country. He actually had his own Steve Brown Darts Academy about 5 or so years ago, and decided to bring the Junior Darts Corporation, which is based from 10 years old to 18 years old. And then obviously when you do turn 18, you've got the PDC development tour on the back of that as well.
I mean, it's just ridiculous how young these guys are and how good they are.
I don't think age really plays much of a part. You've seen what Justin Vanderhout can do. He's only 17 years old.
And I mean, the kid he beat in the final of the BDO, the red hair, I mean, that guy was good too.
Yeah, Killian Heffernan, he's a very good player himself. I mean, he took out the big finish in the first or second leg. I think it was a 1-4-4 or something like that. He took out a big finish early on.
It seems like the younger they are, the more impervious they are to the nerves. I mean, they just don't realize what they're doing, and they just go out there and hit those doubles.
A lot of pundits seem to mention that scar tissue, they seem to just have no fear. They can be playing the best players in the world, and it would not bother them in the slightest. They've been playing darts since they were very, very young, and they get younger and younger now. Bradley Phillips, like you say, was tremendous to win back-to-back events. Just 14 years old, he actually represents his country at youth level. He's won tournaments around the local area. And for that age, I mean, when I was 14 years old, I never even picked up a dart that early. They're getting younger and younger now.
Yeah, and I see you average somewhere around 75. I mean, that's pretty good.
That's good for an adult age, bet.
You got that right. Hey, I mentioned you're busy. I see you had a nice spread in Darts World magazine, features on the Flying Scotsman and Bully Boy. I mean, that was pretty good spread there.
Yeah, I do quite a bit of work for Darts World magazine. I host the podcast every month, which is on iTunes and online. I try to do an interview every single issue. But it was great when Gary and Michael agreed to do the interview with me. It was very enjoyable, and it coincided with Gary's UK Open victory as well.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what do you make of their success so far in 2018, especially Gary? I mean, 3 titles in the span of a week. Smith is just behind MVG in the Premier League, and even Ian White winning a Players' Championship title. I imagine the folks at Unicorn are just over the moon these days.
There's an absolute wealth in talent at Unicorn. It's the products, the way they look after the players as well. Ian White, you've seen, won Players' Championship 6. Gary Anderson won those 3 titles in a row and a span of, I think it was 26 matches unbeaten. You've seen the way Michael Smith started the Premier League as well.
It's quite amazing, and I guess it's a wave of confidence at Unicorn. I mean, the players are doing so well. I got to imagine that breeds confidence for the other players on that roster as well.
It's confidence with what you're throwing with as well. If you've got the best equipment possible, and it's every single detail. Say they wanted to tweak their equipment somehow, Unicorn is there straight away. There's a players liaison man called Matt Rankin, and literally if a player wants a certain flight or a certain stem changing or even changes to the barrel, they're on it straight away, and they give the players the best chance they could get.
Yeah, well, I was on the company website today, playwiththebest.com, and some of the products, I mean, from lighting to shafts to flights to even the barrels, I mean, it's top of the line, right?
Yeah, they've been, for over 80 years now, they've been the best company out there for terms of quality of product and variation of product. They do a lot of soft tip products now as well. If you're in the States, you play a lot of soft tip.
Yeah, I mean that's growing all over the place. I know it's big in States, it's big in Hong Kong as well. The soft tips, a lot of people like that game. I never got into it, but a lot of people do like it.
Yeah, it's not just the quality of products though, Unicorn. They do, the PDC has been associated with Unicorn for about just over 20 years, being the official board supplier to the PDC. Also, Unicorn do invest a lot back into the sport. I mean, you've got the Challenge Tour, Development Tour, World Youth Championship. That's all supported by Unicorn and named Unicorn. They did hold a next generation competition where young players would send a video of them in, throw in, and then I think they selected a select few players to come down to Unicorn headquarters, and there was 3 players in the end who managed to get the next generation prize, which was sort of like a sponsor for Unicorn. Had their own barrels made, had their own shirts made, and it's brilliant what they do for the sport.
It really seems like a good company-wide plan to do that because the younger they are and the way they play nowadays, the more chance they have of making a name for themselves. Important to have that name recognition. I mean, look at Unicorn right now. You got Gary Anderson, Michael Smith, James Wade, Yelly Klassen, Ian Diamond White, and the list goes on. I mean, that's important to have those top players on your side.
Yeah, they've got a mix of talent as well. Like the 3 players I mentioned, Connor Scott, Morgan Smith, and Jordan Boyce. Jordan Boyce was a BDO World Youth finalist. Obviously, they like to look after the young players and the young players coming through. But on the other side of the spectrum, you've got the 3-time world champion John Part, who's an ambassador for Unicorn. You've got former John Lowe and Bob Anderson as well. And then you move to the other end of the spectrum. They've got a different range at Unicorn. They've got a world champion range, which is obviously Yellow Klassen has just joined Unicorn, the 2006 Lakeside World Champion. You've got Gary Anderson, obviously Bob and John, who I've just mentioned. And then they've got a Premier range, which is like the 3 elite players who are on the verge of winning a world title but haven't quite got there. That's Michael Smith, James Wade, and Kim Hybrex.
You got to imagine that Michael Smith has the talent and he's young enough that he's going to win a world title one day.
Michael Smith has yet to accomplish what he's capable of, in my opinion. He's been a very talented player since he was about 15, 16 years old. They didn't really have the development tour back then, but they had a sort of youth tour. I remember he beaten Michael Van Gerwen in a youth tour event. I think he averaged 132. I think it was over only like 3 legs, but it was a monstrous average for the age he was.
I mean, it's unbelievable the averages these guys are putting up nowadays. You mentioned John Part, Canadian. Obviously, I'm a fan. I love him as a dart player. I love him as a commentator. What do you make of his, I guess, unexpected run to the quarterfinal at Butlins? That was a weird tourney with the weather, but a great result for the Canadian. And as you mentioned, a member of Team Unicorn.
Yeah, they do call it the FA Cup of Darts, the UK Open, because it's an open draw, you can play anybody. And with the seeds going out very, very early in the tournament, it kind of opened up for John, and he was very, very good. And probably unlucky in the quarter-final match, he suffered a pretty heavy defeat to the Welshman. But yeah, it was a very good run for John and confidence boost for him.
Does Unicorn have a presence at almost all dart tournaments?
They do have a lot of players. The players are very, very professional about how they go about the business. I mean, they do a maestro range of Unicorn, which is sort of excellent darts players at the top of the game, but just maybe lacking that Premier League status or a world title. We've got Seigo Asada has just joined the ranks as well. From an Asia point of view, he's an ambassador for the sport. You've got Joe Cullen, who we all know what he's capable of. He's won 2 PDC titles, but maybe not pushed on. Ian White, as you know, he's won numerous Players' Championship events, but maybe the televised tournaments hasn't quite fulfilled his potential. And Jamie Caven, who a player years ago had, who was tipped for the top, many PDC titles, but maybe has struggled over the last year or 2, but not saying that he can't push on again and win a title.
You mentioned a guy there, Joe Cullen. I watched him this weekend in Leverkusen, the rock star, baby. I'm a big fan of his, and I got to believe that he's one of those guys that on any given day can take down a big tournament, like maybe even the world title.
Definitely. Joe definitely has the ability, but again, like Ian White, the TV tournaments have eluded him a bit. I remember he played Corey Cadby in the World Championships, not last year, the year before, and Corey Cadby, they were writing Joe off straight before the game had started. The way Corey Cadby won his opening game, I think he averaged 102 against the qualifier, and they were writing Joe off, and Joe actually averaged about 108 in that match. He was superb, and I do think he has got a TV tournament in him. It's just a case of when it's going to happen.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of time. Now, you tweeted out about our interview, and I do appreciate the tweet, saying that you couldn't wait to discuss all things Unicorn. It's an iconic brand, a depth of talent. I mean, this company's been around for a long time. What did you say, 80 years?
Yeah, 1937. I think it was Frank Lowe who founded the company. and I think it's his grandsons Edward and Richard that are the managing directors, and I think they are directors of the PDC as well. I believe Edward is, but the affiliation with the PDC has been around for a long time.
That was my next question about the relationship with the PDC. If you could explain that for us a bit.
Well, they are the official board suppliers of the PDC for over 20 years. Obviously, the tournaments we spoke about are named by Unicorn, the Challenge Tour, the Development Tour, the World Youth Championship. But the players they have we've mentioned it already, the players they have at their disposal. I mean, even the players that people may not be familiar with. You've got the likes of Kyle Anderson, got Dimitri Vandenberg, Chris Dolby, who's been finding some brilliant form lately.
He's been amazing of late, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's reached that Players' Championship final. He had a good run in the Europeans this weekend. Another player who we tipped to the top at a very young age, Keegan Brown. He's another player. He's been on the youth circuit for probably 7 years. He's a very experienced pro, despite being so young, and he's been associated with Unicorn since the very start of his career as well.
Well, it sounds like just an impressive roster, man. Listen, you're partner with Unicorn. You've got your own dart, man. 22 grams? Tell us about these nice little things.
Yeah, I was actually on holiday in Tenerife, and I tweeted something, and I got a tweet back from Edward Lowy, who's the managing director of Unicorn. Said he reads all my blogs and all my website stuff, and basically wanted to reward me for my hard work. So he said, send me a message and we want to make your own darts barrel, which I was quite took back by and really stepped back in amazement. I was like, wow, it's Unicorn, we're the biggest brand in the world, sort of thing.
So you put together a design, you and the company. I mean, it's a nice looking dart, isn't it?
Yeah, basically I said what darts I use now, where I hold the dart. I did use the Joe Cullen dart, 22 gram Joe Cullen darts, but I wanted a bit more grip on the dart as well. It is a very, very grippy dart. It's got a mini grip at the front, then just further along it's got a quite aggressive grip where I hold the dart. In the middle it's got a gramophone grip and then a grip at the back as well. It's a very grippy dart.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about those grooves on the point. I mean, a lot of players going to that nowadays. I mean, the advancements in this product field of darts is amazing over the last few years, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of players who hold the fingers on the point so they can actually feel the grooves on the point so they know that they're holding the dart correctly.
Now, you sent us a video of the darts going in the board. I know they were your darts. I heard your voice on the video, but I didn't see you throwing. Was that you actually throwing?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I do play darts quite a lot. I practice nearly every day. I played Super League before. I don't take myself seriously as a darts player. I just do it for a night out with the boys. But it's good fun. I love watching darts. I love playing darts. I love talking about darts. It's really moved on as well over the last 20 years. The sport since Barry Hearn. Barry Hearn has turned the PDC into a massive, massive venture now, which is globally.
Well, I want to talk about that because I know you've been busy with the podcast lately. I listened to your podcast with Chris Mason on the To The Point show. I'm a big fan of his. And one of the things you mentioned there was, quote unquote, the monster that Barry Hearn has created. I mean, the growth of darts has just exploded.
Yeah, you can see that in the prize money. I mean, for the World Championships 2019, the prize money is £500,000 for the winner. The prize money is going to be moving up. There's going to be more events around the world. The World Series is moving on. You may have heard about the PDC Asia Tour. There's actually a 9-darter in the opening event as well of that. You've probably heard.
Yeah, that's just unbelievable, isn't it? First weekend 9-darter.
Yeah, it was the very first day as well. It happened. It was quite remarkable. It was against Royden Lamb, and Royden Lamb went on to win the event actually. But on the very first day of the event, what a place to showcase it!
I know the people in Europe must be wondering what's going on, right? The curse of Ross Smith.
Definitely. On the European tour especially, there's not been one hit since Ross hit that one in Gibraltar in 2013, I think it was.
Yeah. Chris Mason, you were on the podcast. How did you enjoy that? I'm a fan of his. You must be too.
Yeah, I've always been a big fan of Chris's punditry and his playing career as well. He's the last couple of weeks he's been like a mentor to me, giving me some advice, just telling me what I need to do next to further me, if I want to further my career. He's been on a pundit for probably, behind the scenes, he's probably been doing it for 20 years. When he was still playing, he was doing bits for TalkSport, and then he moved on to ITV, doing Lakeside. He does all the ITV PDC stuff, but he's very, very knowledgeable about what he's talking about as well.
Well, one thing I think that darts has done well is the choice of commentators, because I love them all. Wayne Mardle, John Part, Chris Mason, you've got Paul Nicholson. They all do a great job. I think it's great what darts has done for the TV viewers. You also interviewed Josh Payne recently, episode 8, Darts World Podcast. Talk about that episode if you can.
Yeah, I do work quite closely with Josh actually. I work as help his management team out. I've been part of Josh's team for about 3 or 4 years now, and from a very young age, he's been an extraordinary talent. I mean, he won the Kent Super League singles at 17 years old. He's been at the development tour since it started. He's too old for that now. Obviously, he reached the World Youth final as well. But there's a lot more to come from Josh. I heard Paul Nicholson quote it on a European Tour event for last year, I think. He says, Josh has nowhere near accomplished what he's capable of, and I do think his best years are ahead of him as well.
Well, it looks like he's wise beyond his years as well at the hockey with his poise and the way he stands. He seems like he's supremely confident, and I do expect big things from him. I think he's a good one.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that is down to his manager, the former Women's World #1, Linda Duffy, and now she's a sports psychologist. She works very closely with Josh for about 6 or 7 years now, and it's really helped him mentally as well.
I know you're in the know. You play as well. You know a lot of these guys. You know, when I'm watching on TV, the pressure, everyone's putting up high scores, and if you miss, you're going to lose. How psychological of a game is darts? These guys, it's a mental game, isn't it?
Yeah, they do say it's probably 80% in your head, the game. Games can go either way. If it goes to a last leg decided, there's certain players who win a lot of games 6-5 or you lose 6-5. It can be it's all about who's got the throw as well. I mean, if somebody hits a 12 dart against you, you need to hit a 9 darts to win the leg. As simple as that. But it is very psychological. There could be games where you're 5-1 up and you lose 6-5. That's when you show your mental strength, how you come back from a defeat like that.
And I know you know Michael Smith very well. He's doing quite well in the Premier League. What do you chalk that up to this year? I mean, is he putting in extra practice? What is it? Is he just maturing as a player?
I do think he's maturing as a player. He's always had the same talent. I think. I don't think his talent has got any better or any worse. I just think it's about luck sometimes as well. But his attitude has certainly changed over the last couple of years. And I think the run at the World Championship, I think he was really up for that World Championship when he missed 2 darts to beat Rob Cross 4-2 in the last 16. And I do think if he won that, I think it could have been Michael Smith you could have seen lifting that world title.
No doubt. I mean, he had matched darts there. It was that close. I mean, it was touch and go.
It's doubles and it's only 2 darts as well. And I say only 2 darts, but they were very crucial in the end. Every player misses doubles. You're not going to hit 100% doubles at every single match. It's impossible. But it's just the timing of the misses as well. It proved costly for him in the end.
Well, you mentioned Barry Hearn and the prize money, and I think that's one of the keys. When you put this extra prize money out there with all the sponsorships too, these players start to take it very serious. I mean, no more is it a pastime. They're looking at it as a career, right?
Yeah, and I do like what Barry's done with the entry fees this year. He's scrapped all the entry fees as well. Obviously, he scrapped all the entry fees for all the Players' Championship events, the UK Open qualifiers. He scrapped those. I know the entry fees went up for Q School, which everyone was raving about, and then all of a sudden he come out with the idea that he's going to scrap the entry fees, which is brilliant for the sport.
And just the way they have the feeder system set up, I mean, good players are constantly coming into the game. It makes for very exciting matches. I like what they've done with PDC.TV and these Players' Championships. I mean, I'm in Canada, and I love the darts, and I get to watch it. I find it amazing, with technology nowadays, I can go on a site like yours or on PDC and get my darts fill. It's great.
I totally agree there. I actually enjoy the Pro Tour events and the European Tour events probably more than I do a PDC major. I love the commentary, Dan Dawson, Chris Murphy. I fully enjoy their commentary, and the coverage is brilliant by Loop Productions. It's very watchable, and I love the European Tour more than anything. The atmosphere is brilliant for the German fans and Dutch fans and wherever they go around Europe, and they're brilliant. You see some fantastic matches, fantastic averages. It's fantastic for the sport as well.
Now, on the Chris Mason podcast, the topic of Peter Wright came up and switching his darts all the time. And I guess this goes back to Unicorn. When the average Joe comes in or goes online to playwiththebest.com to check out all the wonderful products there, what advice would you give people when they're buying a dart or dart products to look for? I mean, what's the best advice there?
I'd say just have a browse around the different products, and every player has their own throwings, like where they hold the dart. Say if you've got a dart with the grip at the back of the barrel, you're going to be looking for a dart with that particular grip, or maybe like a particular player. Say you're a fan of Joe Cullen or a fan of Chris Dolby. You can buy all their barrels online there in all the different weights, whichever suits you. I reckon you just pick up a set and see how you get on, and if you don't get on with them, then obviously look for a set that could be more suitable.
TomDartsJourno.com is the website. What are you working on? What can people find there in the coming days?
All sorts, really. There's a European Tour action continuing this weekend. There's interviews on there. There is JDC stuff on there. A bit of everything, really, to be fair.
And any last words about Unicorn?
Yeah, fantastic brand with so many players, like I said before. Dimitri Vandenberg as well. What did you make of him?
Oh, I mean, when he played, who was it? Was it Rob Cross at the Worlds?
Match.
That was a great
Fantastic
match. I mean, they were both in the zone, and when darts is going like that, it's just beautiful to watch. I mean, I was watching it with friends who are not dart fans, and they were enthralled by it. They were just fascinated.
I mean, we were talking earlier about the youth game. Vandenberg started off in the PDC development tour, earned his tour card through that, and he's come on leaps and bounds since he won the Unicorn World Youth Championship, beating Josh Payne in the final there, and he's been recording 100 plus averages for the past 3 or 4 events. He's struggled a bit on the Pro Tour events as of late, but on the TV has been fantastic, and also he's got his dance moves he walks out to as well.
Yeah, I enjoy that, yeah. And he's so young and he's talented, and he's going to be a real contender. When it comes to the World Championship in future years, I mean, there's a name you do not want to draw.
There's another name I want to quickly mention as well. 20 years old from Warwickshire, Ted Evitts. He won a Challenge Tour event on the weekend. He signed with Unicorn last year. He's got a fantastic throwing action as well.
Yeah, he's a good one. I see him on the weekends on PDC.tv, and he's one to watch out for as well. He seems like he's a confident guy.
Yeah, he's actually a chef by trade as well, believe it or not.
Well, he's been cooking up some 180s. How do you like that one? Listen, man.
Sure has. That's fantastic.
Yeah, listen, I really appreciate your time. The website is TomDartsJourno.com. Darts journalist, podcast host. He's partnered with Unicorn. Great to have him with us today. You got to check him out on Twitter as well, at TomDartsJourno. Tom Beresford, man, appreciate it so much. Thanks for your time.
Thanks very much, Derek. I'm sure to come on again in the future sometime.
Absolutely.